Just Add Water Development Limited is an independent video game company founded by Scottish game developer Stewart Gilray. Gilray had been in the industry since the 80s, starting off as a freelance programmer working with various notable companies including Psygnosis, Bullfrog, EA, Core Design and Argonaut Software. After spending 3 years away to pursue other interests, Stewart returned to game development and founded his own company based in Leeds, England on the 24th of October 2006. Just Add Water Developments Limited, commonly abbreviated to JAW, set out on its journey, first by working as a subcontractor on a number of titles before beginning its first unique project. In 2009, JAW would unveil and release their first game, Gravity Crash, a multi-directional shooter with a visual style designed as a homage to 80s arcade games. In particular, it was directly inspired by Gravitar, Thrust and Oids. Gaining mostly positive reviews, Gravity Crash provided JAW with their first bit of notability in the gaming industry, which led to their next big venture. On the 16th of July 2010, it was announced that Just Add Water had signed a far-reaching contract with Oddworld Inhabitants, the American game company behind the Oddworld series that had closed its doors years earlier, having not released a game for over half a decade. This was massive news for both companies, with Stewart Gilray, who became Director of Business Development for Oddworld Inhabitants during most of his time, describing it as a turning point for Just Add Water. JAW's blog post on the matter explained the partnership further, saying, "It's with a huge amount of pride that we can announce that for the past 12 months we have been working extremely closely with fantastic people at Oddworld Inhabitants. From what started off as brief discussions in June 2009 to now working on multiple projects across multiple platforms." If I recall correctly, this deal came about from a chance meeting between Stewart Gilray and Oddworld Inhabitants founder Lorne Lanning at a gaming event. Gilray, a longtime fan of the franchise, approached Lanning about reviving the series, which eventually led to this announcement that continued. "Whilst we cannot go into specifics right now, we can tell you that over the coming weeks and months, we will be announcing these exciting projects starring all of your favourite Oddworld characters. To work with the team at Oddworld has been amazing. Being able to tap the minds of Lorne Lanning, Sherry McKenna and others has been fantastic. It's almost symbiotic in that when something moves forward on any of the projects, we just start chatting about new items or what if we do this. We're all extremely excited to breathe life into the Oddworld universe and indeed to let it breathe life into us." This first breath into the dormant franchise was the release of the Odd Box on Steam on the 20th of December 2010, a collection of the 4 games that had been developed by Oddworld Inhabitants before shutting down, including Munch's Odyssey and Stranger's Wrath ported for the first time to the PC. The Stranger's Wrath port, however, was later replaced in a free update with JAW's first major project on this venture, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath HD. Initially released in 2011, it updated the original 2005 game and brought it for the first time to PlayStation, with enhanced 720p visuals, more detailed character models and remastered dialogue. This ended up being very successful. If I recall correctly, it sold more than the original release did. Not missing a beat, this was followed up the next year by Just Add Water doing the same thing for the second game in the main series of the franchise, the Oddworld Quintology. And Munch's Odyssey HD was released on the 19th of December 2012. Both of these HD remasters were included when the Odd Box was released for the PlayStation 3 the year after. As if that wasn't enough, it had been announced by Lorne Lanning in 2011 that Just Add Water and Oddworld Inhabitants were working together on a HD remake of the first game, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. This would end up being known as Oddworld New and Tasty, a name decided in a competition asking the fans for suggestions. Just Add Water frequently included fans and communicated with them during this period, which, as a young Oddworld fan at the time, was very exciting to me. I remember spending a lot of time watching a live stream that JAW had set up, showing them working on Oddworld in their offices. And looking at my archive, seems like I made what I guess could be considered a meme out of it. 3 months into development of New and Tasty, it was decided that Just Add Water would switch from the Unigine game engine that they had been making the game with up to that point, and start all over again, this time with the Unity engine, due to various advantages that this would bring. With, according to Gilray, a staff of just 14 working on the project, the remake of a game that originally took 35 people in 1997 took just 16 months to make, and came out on the 22nd of July 2014, subsequently becoming a stupendous success. New and Tasty was a complete ground-up remake of the game, as opposed to the previous projects that were HD remasters. This meant that there was freedom for Just Add Water to make greater changes to the game, while still keeping it grounded to the original. Not only were improvements made to the gameplay, but it was also expanded. Whereas the original had a game objective of 99 Mudokons to save, New and Tasty increased that number to 300. Taking advantage of modern technology at their disposal, the developers were also able to reimagine existing cutscenes, as well as add brand new cutscenes, showcasing even more of Oddworld's beautiful environment in a way not done in the original game. It released to great critical acclaim and with very positive reviews, achieving high scores on Metacritic. Although this isn't to say it wasn't without criticism. For example, the immense bloom of the lighting in the game was generally considered aesthetically pleasing compared to the grittier tone of the original, but to be fair, in response to this, an update was released for the PC version that allowed players to easily change the settings inside the folders of the game to take the bloom out. But in general, Oddworld New and Tasty got very good reviews and was considered a great success, massively outselling their expectations and beating its own 12-month sales prediction in just 2 months. Subsequently, completely new material was created for the game in the form of a bonus level called Alf's Escape as downloadable content. However, not long after this, it became apparent to Just Add Water that they wouldn't be working with Oddworld inhabitants on any future full-scale projects again. The end of the two companies' working relationship was officially announced by Jaw on the last day of 2015. This was despite big plans being hinted at and even announced years earlier. When Just Add Water made the deal, Oddworld inhabitants granted them with their entire archive, with eventual plans to make brand new games for the series. Stewart Gilray specifically wanted to finally make Oddworld Squeak's Odyssey, continuing the quintology that hadn't had an installment since 2001. A revival of unreleased game Hand of Odd was also another project that Just Add Water and Oddworld inhabitants had announced back in 2011. Which I think was also what one of my first ever Oddworld videos was about. Sadly, this was not to be. Although they both got on well and had, as Lorne Lanning described it, a great relationship, having one company based in the United Kingdom and the other in the United States made development more challenging than it needed to be. In particular, this took a toll on Lorne Lanning's health due to him having to constantly fly between countries, and he felt the need to bring most of the development of future Oddworld titles closer to home. Despite this, a new independent game development studio was founded by former employees of Just Add Water. Fat Kraken Studios, also based in Leeds, continued to work remotely with Oddworld inhabitants on the next game in the series, Oddworld Soulstorm. Moving on from Oddworld, Just Add Water began working with new partners and clients such as Paradox Interactive, Rising Star Games, Bossa Studios and Mike Biffle. This work was focused on porting various projects from PC to console and assisting the development of titles. In 2017, Just Add Water completed porting Codemasters' game Micro Machines World Series to consoles, a game which debuted at number 2 on the UK all-format video games sales charts, and Jaw expanded its company, moving into a new office in Leeds city centre, and eventually growing to a team of 25, as well as beginning work on titles for Outright Games and Rebellion developments. This led to Just Add Water developing Outright's Ice Age, Scrat's Nutty Adventure, which received generally unfavourable reviews when it came out in 2019. Later, however, Jaw developed Rebellion's Sniper Elite VR, which was released on the 8th of July 2021 for the Oculus Quest, Windows and PS4, and got a warmer reception with generally favourable reviews, with the main criticisms of the game seemingly being less so for the actual game and more so the story. IGN's Gabriel Moss gave the game 6 out of 10 and said the story was thin and poorly told and even more poorly paced. However, he praised the gameplay, saying it features enjoyable arcade-style combat. Sniper Elite VR would go on to win the Best AR/VR Game at that year's Tiger Awards, as well as being nominated in Best VR/AR category at the Game Awards. However, Just Add Water weren't close to being done with 2021 yet though, with them doing work on BPM bullets per minute with a console port that came out on the 5th of October, and just 9 days later, Doctor Who The Edge of Reality was released. Although marketed as a sequel to Maze Theory's virtual reality game Doctor Who The Edge of Time, The Edge of Reality is actually more of a remake for standard consoles, but with substantial additional content added. This included working with David Tennant to bring the iconic 10th Doctor into the game, who was absent in the original version, as well as the Cybermen. Another game that Just Add Water worked on, Toy Soldiers HD, a remaster of the 2010 game, came out just 8 days after The Edge of Reality. As if October 2021 wasn't already a massive month for Just Add Water, it was also specifically special for them, as the 24th marked the company's 15th anniversary. As their blog post commemorating this says, that's 15 years working on porting titles from one platform to another and working with partners to create new and exciting worlds and characters. Unfortunately, only a couple of months later, Just Add Water's founder Stewart Gilray died at the age of 51 on the 6th of January 2022. Tributes flooded in from across the world, all carrying the common theme of expressing what a devastating loss this is, and what a kind and passionate person he was. Game Republic spoke about his involvement with them, saying, as well as the development side, Stu was also very active in Game Republic, and was a judge at the Student Showcase for many years, giving out awards to student teams, and encouraging young people into the industry he loved. It's therefore quite fitting, I think, that the first ever Scottish Games Awards held in October 2022 had an award for community spirit named the Stewart Gilray Award, and was won by Colin MacDonald. The loss of Stewart Gilray was, as it says on Just Add Water's website, a personally devastating outcome for his family and for everyone here at Just Add Water. But the loss of their founder and CEO was, as they said, incredibly difficult for them as a company as well. The website spoke about honouring Stewart's legacy, saying, he had a long-term vision for Just Add Water, one that we intend to honour, for him, his family, his friends, ourselves and our clients. With Stewart's wife Beck Gilray now director of Just Add Water as part of a new management team, it certainly seems like they're staying true to their word of continuing his legacy. Just Add Water moved into new offices in Leeds in June that year, with plans to expand its staff to around 60 people over the course of 18 months, and also rebranded with a new logo and website. Jaw says that the studio has projects underway, with more in the pipeline for partners in the UK and USA, including a full reboot of a recently purchased IP, and are apparently currently working on multiple projects on PC, consoles and virtual reality. Just Add Water Development Limited has done a lot in its relatively brief time in the industry. In just over 15 years, it's worked with many brands, both small and massive, and made a huge impact in the gaming world, all while fiercely maintaining its indie game spirit that makes Just Add Water an incredible and dedicated developer that seems intent on building on the legacy of their founder, Stewart Gilray.